Hopefully we are. Oh, we're on air. We are officially live. So I just wanted to apologize to everybody for the technical difficulties in getting this started. I'm here now with Jason Davis and Jose Pepe Marcosiga, and we are working together to present climate change stories with Jason Davis, and he's going to be sharing his work with us today about his project. It's some pretty incredible stuff. I think it's really relevant to our work as environmental educators and how we are addressing issues of climate change, how we're thinking about climate change, and ultimately the power of our own personal narrative to develop motivation and inspire most critical in this day and age. So I will let Jason give a little bit more introduction on himself, but he is one of our climate change fellows through EE Capacity, and his work is excellent and incredible, and I'm glad that he has agreed to be with us today, despite all the technical difficulties. So I will go ahead and turn this over to Jason, and if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and you can either post them in the comments section on the event page, or there's a little Q&A button that you can also submit your questions, and I or Pepe will field the questions and let Jason know after he has given his presentation. All right, thank you so much.
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you guys see my video, or is it just the YouTube video now?
I don't see anything yet, but maybe it's coming up.
Okay, well, at least you can hear me. So, hi everybody, my name is Jason Davis, and like Justin said, I'm one of the 26 Community Climate Change Education Fellows through EE Capacity. It's been a really great program so far, a really great opportunity to develop some new projects around environmental education and climate change. My idea, I'm a musician, so I kind of come at it from an arts perspective, climate change education, and I thought, how can I teach people about climate change and get people engaged with climate change through the arts? And I started thinking about narratives, climate change narratives. What do people say about climate change on a personal level? So much of what we hear about climate change is kind of out there somewhere. You know, it's abstract, it's data, it's science, which is all super, super important. But I feel like one of the missing pieces is what's going on for people, you know, communities and also individual people who are observing changes with the climate, who have emotional responses to it, but maybe just don't have a chance to discuss that with anybody or really think about it or really feel what they're feeling about the changes that we're all experiencing and what's going to happen in the future. So I think what I'll do first, I have a pretty short, about 2-minute intro video to the project, which will just give you guys just an overview of what I'm looking at and thinking about with this. So hopefully this all works.
Sometimes it takes a couple seconds for it to load up. Is it popping up?
So sorry, is it playing now or not?
So
No.
I think you need to click on the YouTube on your menu bar on the Hangout screen, Jason. Click on the YouTube button, and hopefully that'll show it to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I thought it was.
Are you? Is that what you're seeing on your screen?
Yeah, I was seeing it. I can see it playing.
Okay.
How about this? I can just do for my computer. Let me try that.
You're going to do a screenshot or a screen share?
Yeah, I can try that. Let's see.
Maybe I can edit all this out later.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's see. Okay, so I do a screen share.
Ah, there we go.
Okay.
Something's happening now. Oh, there it is.
Okay, so I'll play it.
This is climate change. This is climate change. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this.
About Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. Those movies and people who live right on the coast, right on the coast, right on the coast. People who live right on the coast, right on the coast, right on the coast. And who are affected by the change in sea level rise and storms. There has been incredible shifts. There has been incredible shifts in the climate that I've seen.
This is climate change. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this. Seeing this.
Okay, so that's a little intro video. Close that. Are you guys still hearing me?
Yep. And
Yeah.
I checked on the broadcast, and we could see the video, so that was great.
You could. Okay, great. All right, I just need to find this window again. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna close that. All right, so yeah, so as you can see, what I'm looking to do is really get people's personal response to climate change. Either people who live here in the U.S. and are just thinking about their families or their communities, or people, say, in the Philippines who are dealing with Typhoon Haiyan and some of the more extreme impacts that we're seeing today of climate change. So I have a short PowerPoint which I can hopefully load up, and that'll also introduce it. Okay, I think I have to have this on the screen. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, great. Oops. Okay, so basically the first question to ask is why climate stories? So as we all know, climate change is not just something that's happening in the future. It's happening now, and it's also affecting people around the world. Before, we have all this data about climate change, we have models, but what we're just not totally getting yet, I think, is some of these personal narratives about what climate change means to us as individuals and people in our communities. And they have power. A lot of people have done research about just how human beings respond to stories, and I think it's true. We're really wired for that, and we really respond to people's personal stories. And also, a lot of people have been talking about the silence around climate change. So, although a lot of us think about this stuff and know that it's going on, and we worry about it, maybe, but we often don't talk about it. So, a lot of times, just these thoughts we have, the feelings we have, the reactions we have, just kind of stay inside of our heads. And I think a really important part of education and also of making some changes with climate change will come about through talking more directly about this. So some of the goals of the project, again, help people relate to climate change as a real present-day phenomenon affecting us now. Create this conversational space in which people around the world can share about their personal responses to climate change. I'm building a network of people, so people who can interview each other, participants who can share their stories from all around the world. Like I said, I'm a musician, so I'm coming at this originally as an artist. How do I use art and music to talk about climate change? And for me, it's really important to get new audiences on board. And one of my goals is that through the arts, we can really get some more people interested who might not be engaged with climate change at present. And then, since you guys are all educators, and I'm coming at this now as an educator as well. How do we use education or how do we use these stories and this project in educational curriculum to further this goal of educating people to how to improve the educational component. So how does it work? Well, first of all, it's a website, so climatestoriesproject.org. You can go to the website, and hopefully I can bring this up quickly. Let's try this. Can you guys see the website?
Yep.
Okay.
I can.
Great.
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna. Okay, here we go. So on the website, kind of the meat of it is here on the Climate Stories page. These are all, by the way, these are all hosted on SoundCloud. If you guys are wondering where I'm storing these files. So, for example, here's a woman I interviewed from Poland who is taking part in the People's Climate March in New York City.
My name is Jana Maciąga, and I come from Poland, from the city of Kraków. I deeply believe that, quoting Edward Abbey, the idea of wilderness means no defense, it only needs defenders.
So I won't play the whole thing, but just to show you, I have I think about 20 or so of these up right now from people. A lot of people are also fellows in the Community Climate Change Education Program, but other people as well. And then on this page here, so my hope is that people will share their own stories. So on this page, tell your own climate story. You can write if you're more comfortable with that. I have a series of questions here which I'll I'll explain more in a bit. And then you can also record your own story and upload it to the site. As I'll explain later, I haven't had too much success yet actually getting people to spontaneously submit stories, but I'm looking for ideas for that. There's also a map, which I can hopefully lit up. So I'm mapping where I'm getting these stories from, and the idea being that you can see, say you live in Boston like I do, but maybe you don't know anybody in Alaska or in Nunavut, or one of the stories is from, or Hawaii, and that way we can start to listen to stories from all over the world and really link our experience to other people's experiences with climate change. So that's pretty much the website in a nutshell. There's also a Facebook page, you can see here, which please go on the page and like it. I'm looking for that. And yeah, so let me bring back the presentation. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so there's the website. Whoops. It's like getting the hang of this, changing things around. Okay. So again, tell your own climate story. You can upload audio. You can upload video or write your own story. So these are the questions that I'm using for my interviews so far. So the first one is, who are you and where do you live? What in your local environment or community is special to you? It's really important, I think, to get people thinking about what they care about. So oftentimes climate change is just, negative, 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 but why do we care? And a lot of it really comes down to what in our environment, what in our community is special to us, and then talking about how might that be changing. Describe the moment or time when you realized that climate change was affecting your life or community. How did you feel? So accessing some of the emotional response to climate change, and also realizing that it's not abstract anymore, that it really is affecting people's lives today. As a result of climate change, what specific changes have you seen or observed in the places you care about? So they're really getting people to cue in, are they seeing what changes in the weather? Are you seeing changes in bird migration? Sea level rise? It could be any number of things that people are seeing in the environment. Describe your emotional responses to climate change as you think about yourself, your family, and your community. So again, looking at the emotional side rather than just the data or numbers side of it. And how do you imagine the future? What advice would you give the world about responding to climate change? So one of the really important things is solutions. So not just saying this is all a big problem, but what do we do about it? So a lot of people are involved in activism or involved with alternative energy or education, and a lot of people really do want to know how to be involved, and sharing these stories, I think, can really help with that. So with the exception of one interview up on the website, all of them have been interviews I've done either in person or on the phone or Skype. They're loosely based on those questions I just showed you, but sometimes they go other places. I mean, I've had people really want to talk about wildlife or really want to talk about their community, and so it's not necessarily, they don't all go the same way. The interviews typically have been about 15 or so minutes long, and I usually shorten them to about 3 minutes or less, just because it's a lot more accessible to listen to that length of a story, especially if it's just audio on the website. And I do a little bit of editing to improve the narrative flow if needed. And like I said before, I'm really interested in getting other people involved. So if you want to be an interviewer or know people who do, please contact me, and I can tell you some more about how to get started with that. So here's some advice if you're looking at that. How do you record a climate story? These days it's really easy because there's very little equipment requirements. You can record stuff on your phone with audio or video on the computer. I use Skype, like I said. There's an app called Call Recorder, which just records the calls and saves it as an audio file or a video file. For my in-person interviews, I use a little portable recorder called a Zoom, which they're getting cheaper and cheaper and better, so they're not hard to get or expensive. And then once I have the interviews, I'm doing audio editing with a couple software programs. Audacity is one I use a lot, which is a free downloadable program, or GarageBand, or there's a bunch of other ones too. It's always best to record in a quiet place. I did some interviews up at the Ottawa EE conference, and a couple of them it was a little noisy, so I had to go back and edit that afterwards. So it's best to have it quiet first. Do a test of the sound quality and levels first. Sometimes it's hard to tell that until you check it with your recording. So your job is really to listen to the interviewee and make them comfortable telling their story. And it's harder than it sounds. Sometimes it's like you want to kind of get your say in, but really, as an interviewer, you're not a storyteller, you're a listener. So your job is to really draw out their story and make them comfortable telling it. And really, most people are not used to speaking directly about their responses to climate change. It's kind of a new thing, and might need some encouragement and some guidance and just some skill at kind of bringing them through the interview process. So, like I said, I use that list of questions. They might go other places, and you can definitely have your own questions. What I found is often it takes a few times to rephrase a question before the interviewee kind of gets to the meat of what you're looking for. So don't be afraid to actually repeat a question another way or rephrase a question to get a deeper response. Okay, so here we are with the education piece. Like I said, this is new. So far, my plan for this, I've talked to some people, some of the fellows and some other people I know that work directly with schools. So I have 3 tentative pilot schools lined up, one in New York City, one in New Haven, and one through a summer program at Brown University with high school students. So my idea is to have the students have a space to openly talk about their personal response to climate change, not just the science, but how do they feel about it, what are they seeing in their environment, what do they imagine in the future, those kind of questions. I'll be training the students to conduct their own interviews with people in their community just to get the hang of that. And my idea is also to have them record remote interviews with people in frontline communities, such as in Nunavut, northern Alaska, for example, or the Philippines. Places where people are really seeing on the ground climate change impacts today. And I think having them talk to other students, it would be great, is to really have the U.S. students relate to students from these other communities. And then I'm hoping, like I've done, to help the students develop some art, video, writing, theater, or music projects using the stories and having presentations with those projects. So here's what I've done so far with my own artistic stuff. The band I lead is called Earth Sound, and it's basically a jazz group, although it goes a lot of different directions. So far, what I've mostly done is taken natural sounds, so recorded sounds from natural environments, and we improvised music to those sounds. But more recently, I've been using some of these climate stories recorded climate stories in our music. So my goal is to give the stories more emotional resonance and reach new audiences to raise awareness and spark a dialogue about climate change impacts and reactions. So reaching new audiences is important for this. It doesn't have to be music. I mean, there's definitely a lot of potential with making videos, slideshows with pictures and audio, theater performances, visual art, museum installations. It could really go a lot of different places. And I am planning to record a CD of this music and some climate stories in the next year, so watch for that Kickstarter campaign. It'd be great to have your support when that comes out. If I can, I'd like to show a quick excerpt of the concert we just recorded where I did some of these climate stories. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay, I think it would.
climate change. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this.
In the 1980s, the winters were really cold. I do recall that the sea ice back then used to get anywhere between 8 and 12 feet thick sometimes.
I went to my hometown and I discussed with the other farmers. They told me it has been 9 months and it doesn't rain. It has been 9 months and it doesn't rain. It has been 9 months and it doesn't rain.
So that's just a little, whoops. So that's just a little introduction into some of the work I'm doing with Earth Sound. Let's see here. Okay, so get to the next slide. Okay, so here's some of the just final thoughts. So it's a pretty new project. So some of the challenges and some of the help I'm looking for in the project. One thing that's really been, I think will be important is finding some partner organizations to help out. Right now, it's basically just myself. There's a graduate student from the University of Oregon who studies climate narratives, who found out about my project and has been helping me develop ideas and build the project. But I'm really looking for an organization or several organizations that really want to take the project on board and really help me build it as a project and as an organization. Funding. So I'm looking for help with any suggestions for funding sources or connections. I am applying for a grant at present, which is an artist grant, but I could see also applying for environmental education grants or other grants people might have, or funding sources people might know about. Help with technology, making the website a little bit better, social media outreach, and some of these logistics. Working in a classroom with students and having to coordinate a remote interview in northern Canada, just want to make sure that it's working well. So help with all those things would be greatly appreciated. Like I said before, I've done most of these stories through my own interviews, but I really love to crowdsource some. So actually to have people spontaneously submit stories to the website. How to do that better, I'm not totally sure, but I have some ideas. One of them is to use a telephone number, so people could actually just call on their phones and record a story directly from that, not without having to upload a story. Embedding a recorder on the website, so again, instead of uploading, it might be a little bit simpler. Or making an app for a phone, so people could do that through their phones. Help with marketing, outreach, and social media is also important. Developing a network of interviewers, so if it's not just me, that's better. Having more people on board, really excited about the project and doing interviews in their communities or with students or remotely, etc. More partner schools. Like I said, I just started the education part of it, but I'm looking for more people to talk to, more teachers who are interested in the project and might want to bring it into their school. As you can see, there's a lot of aspects to it, so sometimes I wonder if I'm trying to do too much in one project. It's storytelling, it's education, it's art. They're all great things, but do I have to think about splitting it or not, or making each one their own project? Is it too big, or is it trying to put in too many things into one project? So those are all things I'm thinking about for now and could use some feedback for. Again, there's the website, climatestoriesproject.org, and if you want to take down my contact info, it's right there, my phone number, and also my email is just jason@climatestoriesproject.org. Yeah, and thanks for checking us out, and thanks for your patience with everything with this webinar. I'm not sure, guys, if anybody has questions, if they can ask them now, or how you want to run that.
Well, I would just like to say thank you for your presentation. And yes, if there's questions, please ask them. I know that I have a number of questions and comments just based upon what you presented there, and there's a lot of elements to your project. It seems like it's going to be a large ongoing venture.
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible for you to go back to your kind of the last slide where you had posted your needs or the next steps, I guess?
Sure, I think so. Yep. Can you see it?
Yeah. So I think some of the things that came out, and I was just thinking about, did you say you had a Kickstart page?
I haven't started that yet, no, because basically what I want to do is record a CD with new music and interviews that I've been doing. And really, I think Kickstarter is great for a focused project, not necessarily for like, organizational funding. So when I do get that more defined, I'll start a Kickstarter campaign just for that CD project.
And so for those who don't know what Kickstarter is, can you tell the audience what that is?
Sure, it's a crowdfunding platform where basically if you have some kind of a project, and I think mostly they're art related or project related, so you can access your network and get people to contribute funding, usually in small amounts, and you provide prizes or rewards for people that fund over a certain amount. So it could be, giving a CD or a house concert or whatever it's going to be for that particular project. It can be very successful. It does take a lot of pre-planning to get it off the ground, and having a good network is really helpful. So I will be checking that out for the CD project, but I am looking for more grant funding or more kind of larger scale funding to keep the project going on a bigger level. So any thoughts about that would be appreciated.
Awesome. The other thing that I had a question about, or more like a comment, I guess, and maybe this is an area where we could collaborate. Now, in my own work and interest around storytelling, particularly around digital storytelling, I've been working for a while on this, more conceptualizing, but actually starting to get into the coding process, and I've been focused on this idea of this phone app. And so I could see a real opportunity around developing something that follows a very, defined pattern of interaction, where you're asking these specific questions, right? And then there's if it's a phone app, then you have that GPS location component, right, where you're automatically being able to upload or present that on your Google map. So you have that geolocated information there that can then be posted to the website. But I've also been looking at ways in which stories and maybe not just climate change, but looking at all these different notions of place, where climate change is definitely a part, right? So I love that part where you're asking people about like what is important to the place that they are, or their community that they're living in, and what is it that makes them connected to that place. And I think that's a really interesting piece. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities around the use of phone apps, even the idea of like integrating video or images and audio that can then be able to then just push to your website. And I think that would be a really awesome way to get that crowdsourcing, right, of those stories. And it'd be I think there's a way where we could develop it to constrain those stories to 3 minutes, right? Where it's a very specific question, and then that's asked like through a series of steps, and then it gives you a certain amount of time to tell that component or create that media resource, and then you're on to the next step, and then it stitches everything together, and then you're able to upload that, push that to the site, and then it becomes a resource on your site. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, if you or anybody else has experience with creating apps, which I don't, then that would be great. I mean, I think that's been one of my things that are kind of like a blind spot, where I just don't have the technical background that some people have, and like also just like the knowledge of the social media world, and how do you get that project out there so people will share it and will readily contribute. So that's something I could definitely see growing a lot.
Yeah, and I think it also, to build something like that, you can fit that in with your marketing outreach social media campaign, right, where you are offering that, say, like on Google Play or the iTunes Store as something that's a downloadable thing that gets people directly connected to your website. Maybe it's something that that people automatically sign in or sign up for an account, right? That then people are connected to your website, driven to your website, but is also stitched together through, say, Facebook or other types of social media networks.
Sure.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways. I think that these pieces can be integrated. Obviously, a lot of that is contingent on funding, and that funding, at this point, you've got those small grants. There might be tech grants. There might be some kind of money that can be, sought after. I think, though, obviously, the piece is going to be like that human capital, right? Is getting enough people engaged in the project to perhaps help facilitate some of these initial kind of startup, tasks, right? To kind of get the ball rolling, and that's always going to be the thing. But I think you have it's actually a pretty inspiring project. And I think I'm really drawn to it because of my own work around this. And like I said, it's like I'm not necessarily, well, all my research and my work is focused on response to climate change, but I am more broadly, I think, interested in this process of storytelling around our experience of nature and environment and change and of our landscape over time. And I think climate change really fits into that, and I would love to I'd love to see how this evolves, but I think that I would be definitely interested in helping out.
Great.
With some of this stuff. I don't know if there's any other questions. I think most people had like technical difficulty, and eventually maybe they're just watching, or they ended up taking off. But I think what we can do is we can go ahead and we'll have the video posted. People can continue to ask questions. What we can do is we can also share it with the storytelling course participants, and they can go ahead and ask questions, and we'll make sure that you're in that group so that you can respond as they come. And because I think what we can do is cut this up into little pieces, and so people can have a chance to kind of digest certain aspects of this. And I'll look into what it's going to take to edit this. It shouldn't be that difficult, but hopefully we can get some of the technical difficulties out of the group.
Yeah.
So I know. So there is a question.
Oh.
Where is Jason's band? Where is your band located?
Where is the band located? Oh, we're all here in Boston. It's myself. I play bass. Flute player is a teacher at Nimmerling Conservatory. He's from Israel originally. The pianist on that video is from Brazil and is a doctoral student at the Nimmerling Conservatory as well. And the drummer is he's from Germany, He also lives here as a teacher at the Berklee College of Music. So we're fortunate that in Boston there's a lot of great musicians, and especially associated with the music schools here. Hopefully we'll take it on tour. I'd love to get some interest in festivals or environmental conferences, and we'll hopefully get to perform around some places outside Boston as well.
So, do you see the band project and this project as being integrated, or do you put more time into one versus the other?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it's part of what, like I said before, this all grew out of a musical idea, but when I realized that I could use the internet to get people to talk about climate change and to submit stories, it kind of grew in that direction. So right now, I'm not totally sure what my own music and the performance, how that's going to link up with the gathering of stories and sharing of stories. I mean, right now I see, like, for me, that's a really powerful way to connect with people, is just to put it in a musical context or put it in an art context, so it's not just speaking or not just writing. Those can be good too, but for me, this really speaks to me, and I hope speaks to other people when they can hear it inside music or see it inside art and just really feel the power and the emotion behind some of these climate stories. So I think time will tell how integrated they're going to be.
Yeah. Excellent. So let's see here. We've got this technical question. How does Jason switch between the slide presentation to the video? Oh, I don't know if that's an older comment. There's more of a technical question. What we can do, just for those who are interested in doing Hangouts, I think it's a possibility that we can run one within the storytelling course as kind of a how-to, since it seems like we all need continuing and ongoing practice with using Hangouts on air.
Yeah.
It is definitely there's a learning curve here, I think, in terms of being able to do this effectively, and I think maybe that's something that we'll add to the list of things to do for the course moving forward. So I did have one more, I think, question, and I think it's more related to the next step. So in terms of, like, so your work with the Climate Change Fellows, and this is all generated around this project, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And so the idea here, and maybe you can tell people, like, what that fellowship is, and how you see that facilitating your work here, and how it's helping you do that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I feel really fortunate to take part in the Community Climate Change Education Fellowship through E-Capacity. It's been super helpful, just getting some support for the project, some feedback, some tons of ideas from people. So really, if you don't know about the fellowship, it's 26 people from North America, so from the United States, Canada, and Mexico, that are developing climate change education in some form. So whether they work for a school or work for a nature center or a nonprofit, or some of us, like myself, are freelance and kind of developing our own projects, but we all care about climate change education and making it more accessible, more successful, more innovative, and so it's kind of like a little way to experiment with working together and getting support and feedback and suggestions for moving these forward. So when we started, well, I guess really the first thing we did was our training in West Virginia, which was in June of this year. And when I arrived there, I had barely started the project. I had the website, and I had maybe 2 or 3 stories up there, but I didn't have really I hadn't really shared it with anybody, and I couldn't really envision where it was going to go. But just being in that training and taking part in our webinars during the intervening months, And then we all went up to the North American Environmental Education Conference in Ottawa earlier in October, and saw presentations. We all presented something or did a poster presentation about our project, and just really got a chance to share what we're doing, get feedback and support. And I really don't think I could have done this at all without some kind of support from this this fellowship. So it's been really great, and I hope it continues next year.
That's awesome. And so, did you build the website yourself?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a tech guy, so I just use it's called Weebly. It's a really simple, like, do-it-yourself website creator with a theme, and you just drag and drop stuff, and it works for now. But eventually, I would like to have a more professionally developed website and be able to host the audio or the video on the site rather than SoundCloud, which works, but it would be nice to have it all more integrated into one website.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, eventually I'd like to really work with someone who's a coder or website developer who can really help me design it to be a little more advanced.
Mm-hmm. I would say this though. I mean, the idea though that you have your audio elements on SoundCloud and you have video elements on YouTube, in of itself does provide greater visibility just because of the amount of traffic that's on those sites. And then you have the other aspect of that is going to be that you're able to have that social networking component, right? Where people are able to see your stuff and be driven to your site. And so I mean, yeah, there's good, there's always different options, right, in terms of like looking at what your trade-offs are and what do you get out of that. But I think maybe you can still have a really professional website with still using those tools, because in a way they are already marketing for you, and that so I think so far you're doing a great job. I think it's awesome that you're using the tools that are available to you in a creative way that is working for you at this point. But yeah, it would be cool to see what kinds of additional elements that you create or new pieces that you add on to this moving forward. Hopefully you get the funding, right, to be able to develop that out. I mean, to that capital required to basically do these projects in effective ways. And so
yeah, that's I'm still working on that, and I have more ideas in the pipe. But yeah, it's been going well, and I'm really excited about the project, and I want to keep working at it.
If there's any other questions, I've seen a whole series kind of like popping up there on the side here, but I think for the most part, I think I think most of the questions have been answered. I think what we can do moving forward is go ahead and I will work on streamlining this, like I said, and posting it up. And hopefully, what we can do is try to crowdsource some of the people that are in the storytelling course, and maybe something we can also post to the Climate Change Fellows, and so they can see what we're doing, and hopefully we'll get some feedback for your work.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully what we can also do is try to run this Google Hangouts kind of tutorial thing and see get people to drive that, and maybe it'll give us some extra practice
Mm-hmm.
in running these things.
Yeah,
So,
I think it was just I didn't understand that little G plus was the icon you have to click on. Once I got that, I think that was what did it.
yeah, well, that's one thing that we'll have to look into. Yeah, so I mean, I know like for me when I'm running these things, usually it's different. Usually I just click on the video icon within the shared Hangout,
Mm-hmm.
and it says take me to that, and I join. And like you were doing, like you were trying to do the first time. That's usually how I think it works or supposed to work.
At least we got it to work. So that's
yes, I'm very excited, and I'm happy that we were able to see your project. I think, from my experience being on the call directly with you and being able to see this, your story unfold here and the work that you're doing, I feel inspired. So I think that for that alone, like I feel it's a success. So
cool. Awesome. Yeah, and I definitely love to talk more about the your ideas with the app and other stuff you mentioned.
Yeah.
But if you have some knowledge about how to get that started, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm learning some of it. I mean, I have a coding background and web development background, but there are some kind of like phone app type frameworks where you could do like cross-platform development using HTML5 and JavaScript, which are your basic web developer tools right there, at least from a design or a front-end standpoint. And so if you've got those pieces down, then in a sense you can develop rich applications for mobile devices. And so I'm still learning and getting into the innards, but yeah, I would definitely love to talk to you more about it, because I think having a partner on this project would help kind of motivate me as well to do it, and versus to stop thinking about it and actually like write out the specs and get it going. So, and I think that your project is kind of something that would help kind of ground that thinking and help propel that, which I think is awesome. So yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Yeah, let's just we could set up a time to chat about that. And where are you based?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, you're in Texas. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I guess it'll be remote then, but
yeah. We'll see. I mean, sometimes I come up to Ithaca, but it's still, I mean, no matter what, it's going to, probably be remote. So.
Right. Okay. Well, that would be awesome. I mean, I think, like I was saying, I think that challenge of getting people to contribute and to really, like, more as a social media crowdsourcing project rather than just an interview project was my initial conception. But I quickly realized, wow, this is something I don't really know how to make click, and having the app or having some sort of simple tool for contributing on the go or without having to upload something, I think would be awesome. I think it would help make that part of it really take off.
Yeah, definitely. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gerbil wheel is like spinning in my head. So.
Cool. Let's talk then. I love it.
All right.
Well,
if there's any other questions, it doesn't look like it. So I think with that, I just want to say thank you again for participating and showcasing your work. And I look forward to seeing more.
Okay. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.